We have started to record the most recent session of MM2003, reporting and writing for the mass media for the fall semester. Welcome back from fall break. It goes by all too quickly. It is Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. We begin a long, uninterrupted stretch of classes all the way until Thanksgiving break. This week, Tuesday, today, Assignment 6, which is campus crime, is due. We'll be looking at roughly about a dozen of your classmates' blogs during the course session today. And then our next assignment, number 7, which is campus news at the state, national, international, or local levels, is going to be due at class time on Thursday. So we're doing a lot of research, but I think the most important thing right now is to double check where we are with the assignments from Google Drive and remind all of you of upcoming projects. Here we have the listing of all of the assignments posted on student websites. Obviously, you can get this from Blackboard as well. But a reminder that after we get through campus crime and campus hard or feature news this week, we are going to quickly move on to public records at the local level. Probably be talking about that at the end of class on Thursday. Public records at the state, national, or international level also coming up. So realistically, by the time we get to the end of October, we will probably be somewhere in the area of assignment 12 or 13. We'll play it by ear. By the time we get to Thanksgiving break, we will be well on the way to the end of the 20 projects. And keep in mind that 20 is the wild card, with visual journalism being the actual final project. So start to think about how you want all of your projects to look as the semester continues. Obviously, the 5 W's: who, what, where, why, when, as many of them as possible in the lead sentence to any of your stories without pushing it. Also start thinking about a writing style other than the opinions, which is not personal, which is not opinionated, giving just the facts, always editing your copy, looking at all of your cohorts projects, not only now, but in years gone by. And I think most importantly, watching the videos to give you realistic examples of what I think is important for you from a reporting standpoint. And with all of that in mind, let's start taking a look at your classmates' blogs. This is in reverse alphabetical order, and we'll be doing that for a while. Carlin is first. I'm always double checking to make sure that you see what I see. This is what it looks like when clicking on Carlin's website, campus crime being first, everything else cascades down in reverse chronological order. Notice the design consistency by which everything is set up. Number 1, defining news with a read more. Number 2, breaking news updates over a 24-hour period. Number 3, news leads with Twitter links. Number 4, hometown hard news. Number 5, hometown feature news, leading us to number 6, campus crime. And lead more, she's got 2 different graphics that have been posted on the blog. She also has a headline. Now, this deals with Ohio State. We talked about this before the break. Let's examine her lead sentence. Quote, in the first semester of school at Ohio State, students and parents are already having serious concerns about the student safety on and around campus. Now, in this case, if I wanted to be really specific, what I would do, Carlin, is to take the apostrophe and put it after the S in students, because we're talking about the way that you write it. Students as a plural. The way that you have the sentence written, it would be students as an individual, where in this case, you would have parents of many students on campus. It's a small thing, but as time goes on, it's really important to try to be as exact as possible. That being said, it is a well-written lead. From the minute students started moving in, cases immediately started popping up with robberies and some even at gunpoint. Then she lists some of the cases. And if you want to put bullet points on a blog like this, that's certainly appropriate. Now let's take a look at some of the lead sentences. These students feel helpless in their own environment because of the lack of help from police in the jurisdiction. A mom of a son that attends Ohio State has asked her son to transfer because of the crime rate, but he was begged to stay because of the relationships he has developed. Parents are so concerned that they are having the thought of removing their children from this school in order to protect them from violence. With all of the recent events that have happened in the last couple of weeks, the students have been sent an email that they are cracking down on security to protect their students. Notice, what did I focus on? All of the lead sentences in her copy, and then here at the end, she provides a link to the story itself. If it doesn't become interactive, what you can always do is to drop and drag it, copy the link into a URL at the top of the screen, and make sure that you can access it for the sake of being credible as a journalist, so you know that the link is actually something that you edited from. And that is what Carlin's website looks like whenever you are accessing it from the website. Let's continue back in reverse alphabetical order. And this is Joanna. She's on Hometown Feature News. A reminder, Joanna, take the D off of featured, it's feature. Sheriff's Office arrests suspect in Columbia County Fairground shooting. And there is the link, 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder during a shootout Saturday night at a Washington fair. And you may need to clean this up a little bit because I'm not sure what that refers to. And McNeil has 1 L, not 2. Always make sure that all of you go into your blogs and double check the spelling and make sure that everything is factually correct. No one was injured, but the shooting caused the wave to depart and the fair to close prematurely, as you can well imagine. And here she has the rest of her projects. Let's just scroll to the bottom and work our way to the top. Obviously, as you're well aware, people are going to have different types of setups for the blogs, and this has been used before. Global news, news leads with story links, Columbia County employment, and the hometown feature news. Now up here on top, you'd want it to be MM2003. Get rid of the dash here. Put the dash in between the end of the course number and your name. But there are a couple of editing issues that you'll want to make sure of. And also, I want to see someplace here a link to the original story to ensure that everything that you've provided here is accurate. Names, spellings, everything else. It's very important to be specific. As we move on in reverse alphabetical order, we will go to the website for Alexis. I don't have everyone's blog up. There are still a couple of you who are still catching up. But this is what the website for Alexis looks like. As you can see, her campus crime story emanates from West Virginia University. As we scroll through hers, there's a link to the original story. It's opening in a different window, and it is about sex crimes declining on campus. Now let's look at her lead sentence. Quote, through the latest West Virginia University's Clary report, we find that there was a decrease in sexual violence last year. Now, the one thing that I want all of you to remember is when you're writing for the media most of the time, you want to take out the personal reference. Take out the we. The latest West Virginia University's Clary report finds there was a decrease in sexual violence last year. The inclusion of ourself is not necessary. Also, because of the pandemic, there were no activities that would normally bring in large numbers of campus crimes. Not unusual with COVID. Most campuses stayed open, even though there were a lot of courses, like Southern Arkansas University last year, that were almost exclusively online, or much more so than in the past. During the last year, the cases increased from 9 to 14. Some of the graphics include West Virginia, sex offenses being down, screenshot, and a generic shot of the campus itself. Change is occurring, dealing with major issues such as this one. Now keep in mind, what we have in the writing of this paragraph is something that comes across more as an editorial. Whenever we're writing something like this for a traditional news blog, our personal opinions are not relevant nor necessary in this case. Write it as someone who is an unbiased observer. Write it in third person and take yourself out of it. There's nothing wrong with this if you did it for an opinion piece, however. So in this case, you can actually rewrite this to say that change is occurring with these types of issues, but personal references would not be used. Scroll back here, and that is what her blog looks like whenever you click on it. Continuing in reverse chronological order, we will go to Courtney. Maryland man indicted on hate crime charge and fatal shooting of Black Army officer. And I'm not sure if you have this complete or if you're doing a little bit of each, but you've got most violent crime campuses, including, according to this writing, Marquette, Vanderbilt, University of California at Los Angeles, UCLA. You want to take out the comma and just make it Los Angeles. North Georgia, University of Wyoming, College of Charleston, among others in the report. I'm not sure if that is complete or whether or not that is a work in progress. So I'll just go ahead and continue on to the website for Seth, and his is next. And his is evaluating campus crime at SAU. 65 safety-related incidents on the main campus. Screenshot with a reminder that they're usually called some type of incident report, even if it's a minor disturbance, but everything has to be chronicled. 62.5% of crime on campus, disciplinary, 16.7% significant crimes. Out of all of these crimes, quoting Seth now, about 93% occurred on the main campus and 7% off campus. And that's certainly not unusual for a campus the size of SAU. When you click on his website, that is what you're going to see from top to bottom. Remember what I said here. I want you to change the feature story because you're basically focusing on something that's hard news. And I mentioned that twice. Please make sure you're watching the videos. Hard news, Twitter, how I view news, and that's what his looks like. Continuing on, we have Taylor, who is already one ahead to assignment 7, so you'll get a sneak peek of hers. from the Texas A&M campus, but we will scroll down to campus crime. You can click on the number or read more, and she's got 1, 2, 3 different examples. This involves the pledge at Virginia Commonwealth University. 19 years old, found dead after a fraternity party. And here is the story, which actually opens up in the window. And if you can do it this way, to cite your source, it's very helpful to give you credibility as a reporter. And it looks like there will be an advertisement and possibly a new story right here. Let's see. After we have a word from our sponsor. And we'll be looking at other videos for the upcoming project on campus crime with a search later.
When we got the first call that people were being arrested, I cried. I mean, it was like that first glimmer of hope in 7 months.
After 7 months of questions, Courtney White believes she and her family will finally get answers in the hazing death of her 19-year-old cousin, VCU student Adam Oaks.
It was bittersweet. We cried. I mean, it was just so wonderful to hear that something was being done.
Friday afternoon, Richmond police announced that 11 individuals are being charged in Oaks' death. So far, there have been 8 arrests. All 8, including Jason Mulger, Alessandro Medina Villanueva, Christian Rohrbach, Riley K. McDaniel, and Enayat Sheikzad, who was not pictured, have been charged with unlawful hazing of a student. Benjamin J. Corrado, Quinn A. Cubey, and Colin G. Tran were also charged with purchasing and providing alcohol to a minor. At this time, the remaining 3 individuals have not been arrested.
These arrests signify that you're not going to get away with hazing in the state of Virginia. But also that in the state of Virginia, but also that Adam didn't die and no one be held accountable.
Police found Oaks unresponsive in a campus house on West Clay Street. Oaks was determined to have died from alcohol poisoning. Oaks' family believes he was hazed during a party after accepting a bid to join the Delta Chi fraternity. Back in June, the fraternity was officially banned from VCU's campus. Last month, VCU also notified its students that it will not allow Greek organizations to bring on new members this fall. Alcohol has also been prohibited from official student organizations and functions for all undergraduate students. White says it's reforms like this one that could save another life.
Other universities don't have something in place. Take VCU as the example and start doing it now before we have something in place because of hazing.
In the meantime, she and her family are waiting for their day in court and some semblance of justice for Oaks.
And then a question that I still have is what happened? I mean, I know the gist of what happened that evening, but I'd love to hear it from somebody that can tell me piece by piece everything that my cousin went through that night. Because right now, the unknowing is just as agonizing as the pain of his death.
And from there, the nice part about the way that that's set up is the link is within the context of her story. And hazing rituals causing 200 deaths, that's probably a low number since the 19th century. The hazing ranges from alcohol poisoning to starvation to abuse. Universities around the country are encouraging sororities and fraternities to end hazing, promoting the These Hands Don't Haze campaign in an effort to completely eliminate the dangerous traditions across the nation. So you've got that graphic right at the end of the story, These Hands Don't Haze. And then clicking back on Taylor's name, there is a preview for a Texas A&M related feature story or hard news story for Thursday. We continue on taking a look at what your classmates are doing, and I'm going to refresh this to see whether or not it's been updated. We're going to look at Trey's website. Trey has a night job, so sometimes the work he does is going to be on his computer in the middle of the night. Right now, he's on breaking news over the past 24 hours and defining news, so he is still catching up. But I will show you what his website looks like in real time. You'll recall the shooting in Tennessee at the grocery store.
We're coming on the air with breaking news about a shooting at a Memphis area grocery store. It happened at a Kroger in Collierville, Tennessee. Here's what we know right now. According to police, 13 people were shot. One person has been killed. The shooter is also dead. Police say it appears to be self-inflicted. Just moments ago, authorities briefed the press with this update.
At this time, the shooter is deceased. We believe that's going to be from self-inflicted gunshot wound. We have 13 victims. Our hearts go out to those that were injured. We do have one fatality, and our thoughts and prayers are with those family members.
The chief of police in Collierville joining us now is former ATF special agent and NBC News analyst Jim Kavanaugh.
So that story continues, and there's the video with the audio muted, not unusual. There's Lester Holt, anchor of NBC Nightly News, talking to someone who is an expert in these types of activities, former special agent. And then when you click on Trey's name, that's what you see. So he's still working on updating his blog. That brings us to Morgan, and let me refresh this before we click on hers. Make sure that you see what I see. Creative setup. And she's got a number of projects posted on the website, and apparently we're still waiting for the campus crime story, but just to show you what hers looks like right now, and this was refreshed a moment ago, always take a look at what your classmates are doing and what your cohorts did in years gone by, not only for the structure of the blogs themselves, but how the stories are being written. And let me reiterate that you always want to edit your copy in real time and make sure that you're not necessarily interjecting any type of personal knowledge, such as I or we, other than the two opportunities that you have during the term to work on editorials. This is what Haley's website looks like. Her campus crime story is similar to what we saw from Taylor, the 19-year-old young man who died as a result of drinking too much for the hazing activity at Virginia Commonwealth. And there's a link to a story from the New York Times opening in the same window, just like Taylor. The dateline on this story is September 25th with a September 29th update, but ironically, it's something that happened in February, and only in September are there indictments for individuals who were allegedly involved in the fraternity hazing. And that's where you always have to be careful with not convicting someone just because he or she has been arrested. Notice that you've got the names of the individuals who were arrested, and that's the story itself. And it goes on for quite some time, and you see Penn State fraternity from 2017. And then a couple of days after the young man's situation that took place, a drunken hazing, a fatal fall, Cornell University from March, and we'll go up to the top and then we will click back to the website itself. Now there's another news story calling for a permanent ban. Let's check this out.
If your loan isn't with Eastern Credit Union, you're missing out. Come to us for your next.
As always, we have to pay for the privilege. So we'll just wait until the video comes up and examine this from a second perspective.
Allegedly hazed and forced to drink an entire handle of alcohol before his body was found inside a home on West Clay Street, February 27th. His family says he was a fraternity pledge. A VCU launched an investigation thereafter, and the Division of Student Affairs again now recommends Delta Chi be permanently banned if they are found responsible. Richmond police, they're also investigating Adams' death. Last week we were told no arrests have been made in connection, but Adams' cousin Courtney White says a ban to the fraternity would set a standard.
I'd love to say that Adam, after Adam's death, we can change the world, right? And we can change the culture. But I have to think realistically. This has happened in so many other states, and yes, the change is occurring in that state, but it's not happening. It's not changing globally.
We're also told the VCU Student Organization Conduct Committee is going to be looking into if they violated any rules. We expect that process to be complete sometime this summer. We're also awaiting the final medical examiner's report, the autopsy for Adam Oaks. In Richmond, Ben Dennis, 8 News.
And then you've got a graphic like what you saw in the first video story from Taylor of the individuals who are arrested. Quote, VCU is dedicated to continuing its efforts announced this summer to promote a safe and welcoming fraternity and sorority life culture for all. Unfortunately, these stories, no matter what, happen every year. Whether or not it goes on internationally, who knows? But if you want to look at an international campus story, hard or feature, for Thursday, that certainly is acceptable. And that is what Haley's website looks like when you first click on the link at the website. That brings us to Kaylee Harrell. She has the snapshot format, and we've examined hers before. Her defining news, news leads with Twitter links, the hometown hard news, the hometown feature news. We've taken a look at a lot of these, but just to show you what it looks like for Beat Shazam. So she is still catching up with campus news. But a reminder, you can go classic, flip card, magazine, mosaic, sidebar, snapshot, or time slide for any of these if you so choose. And I think the experimentation is really helpful for all of you as you are continuing on during the semester. And that's why it's really helpful to look at all of your classmates' work, not only from a stylistic perspective, but obviously the most important things are the reporting and writing, which brings us to the website for Gwen. I'm guessing for the foreseeable future, I'll continue going in reverse alphabetical order. Since I was always at the end of the alphabet, it seems like only the fair thing to do. In Gwen's case, she is on, now let me refresh. She's still on hometown feature news, and we examined this before. Let's show you what it looks like from top to bottom. Hometown feature news. You recall in a previous class session, we were looking at some of the fires in California with her interactivity, defining news, and everything is set up in a way which is easily accessible. I'm going to show you Lauren's website in just a moment, but I wanted to share an email that she sent today. It involves Google Blogger. Apparently, If you opened a Google Blogger account, sometimes if you did it before the age of 18, it may be taken down. And whenever I tried to click on Lauren's original website for this class, after she had sent me a previous email, she was correct. I clicked on the web link for this class and nothing happened, and she was kind enough to provide me with a second link, which you're going to look at right now. This is a new address. And she's got Campus Crime set up here with the read more. Breaking Bad at Henderson State. This did not happen in 2021, but because it got national publicity, I'll let you go ahead and discuss it. In October 2019, individuals were studying in a chemistry lab at Henderson State, and someone became sick. The students found themselves in the lab next to the door used by two chemistry professors. And the upshot of the story, which is in the Arkansas Times, and there's a link to it, is that, and we're going to have to sign up for more articles, and we can't do that. But the professors obviously wound up in deep trouble 2 years ago. And I'll leave it up to you to find out what has happened to them since. But it really was a very serious story. And as you can see, just even as we have started class, Lauren has taken her new website and already updated it. I did not refresh this before I clicked on her new link, which is Lauren Singletary 2003. And then all of you've got the blogspot.com. But right now she is reposting material. And there's number 5 and number 6. This is where it's one of the unintended consequences of cybersecurity, because more and more you're going through a double ID before you can actually get into websites or do different types of activities. Blogger may be getting into that as well. We'll see. So with all of that, there were a couple of you who are still catching up with projects, and you can go ahead, make sure you get caught up ASAP, and I will incorporate your blogs into future class sessions. But I think we're on the right track. But I want to reiterate something. Other than the opinion pieces that you write later on during the semester, we should not hear your voice, I or we. Double check the writing to make certain that it is third person. As the reporter, that's the way it should be. And then, as we were doing with a couple of your classmates today, what are we saying in lead sentences to paragraphs? Are we making sure that our spelling and our fact checking are correct? Think about what we were looking at before with the shooting at the Columbia County Fair last week. You must make sure that everything is absolutely correct, or it's going to hurt not only your credibility as a reporter, but of the publication or publishing entity for whom you are employed. Let's now go back to Google Drive. Reminding you of upcoming activities and projects. First and foremost, always remember to keep up to date, watch the videos, make sure that you are taking my advice. Something like that will come into play at the end of the semester if I've asked you to do an edit or ask you to rewrite something and it doesn't change. The reporting, the writing are obviously important, but the editing is equally important. So not only take a look at your own work to refresh your projects and always try to tweak your website for creativity's sake, but also examine what your classmates are doing in real time. And of course, all of the work that was done in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 2016, and 2015. Hopefully those blog posts will still be available after some of the cybersecurity updates from Google Blogger and other providers. And also in this window, when you scroll to the bottom, videos from the last month or so, everything that we've done on Blackboard Collaborate Ultra is right there. I don't know if I'll keep them online at the end of the semester, but the videos will always be available through Blackboard. With that in mind, now let's go through some research for assignment 7. That's going to be due on Thursday of this week. You saw that Taylor was already ahead of the game and she's got hers set up. Let's do some background checks on campus news. Hard or feature stories. Let me go back to the basic search, refresh, go into the news feed, and refresh it as well to see whether or not it is still active. Now, what I just did is to actually click on the wrong link. So for those of you who are watching the video for class, you'll notice that you can hear me, but you can't necessarily see me, and I should be back on screen right now. And I am. What happens is, as you're well aware, I've got so many tabs on screen that I occasionally click on the wrong one. And that's what I just did. So let's again return to the campus news search. You've got, starting from the top, Point Park University, University of Denver. You've got my experience getting COVID-19 while living on campus, and that is from, and I'm checking the publication here, and you are too, with all different kinds of advertising. This is Grand Rapids. This looks like Michigan State University. So again, from the top, Point Park University, University of Denver, Michigan State, University of Michigan, University of Michigan, UM Flint, Yale, University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, University of Michigan, might be the same story, Alabama A&M, Ohio State, that looks like something we talked about before, and it should. We've got general enrollment in Idaho, it appears, the College of Idaho, and Northwest Nazarene University, from a website focusing on Idaho education issues. You've got, I looked at this before class. Notice some of these stories are in bold and some of them are not. I clicked on this before class. This is Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. On campus dining times increasing as the school year begins. Here we've got Campus Sustainability Week, and this is From the Niner Times, this looks like this is the University of North Carolina, Charlotte. The Niners are the school name, and one of the main colors is green. University of Nebraska, Omaha. CSUF would be Cal State University, Fullerton. The Daily Emerald is a publication from, looks like, the University of Oregon, and it is. Now keep in mind, with a campus hard news or feature, you can go in any direction that you want. And I don't know if this is a college or not, but I wanted to click on it regardless. We've got Yale University again. Now I'm just clicking on the news feed. Indigenous Peoples Day campus celebrations at Madison Area Technical College. More than likely that's Wisconsin. UNF, University of North Florida. QSR Automations opens new tech campus. And this is Dateline Monday. And this is Louisville, Kentucky. A global restaurant technology company is celebrating its 25th anniversary with a state-of-the-art technology campus. Coming out on campus, Ohio State University. University of Nebraska Kearney, $85 million rural health complex. Warren Tech Center in the Detroit metropolitan area. Flu vaccines now available, University of Ohio campus. Series of crimes moved through Towson University campus on Monday. WBAL, that would be Baltimore. WBRZ, Baton Rouge. And that was something that was trending a day ago. Worker at Wendy's on LSU campus arrested. Not unusual, as you're well aware, with Chick-fil-A and other fast food entities on the SAU campus for them to be here. University of Denver announces mountain campus. Climate resilience is the goal for an activity at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. 9 free things to do on campus in October. Emory University, Atlanta. Cal State Fullerton, Candlelight Vigil. We were looking at a story from that campus earlier. Could be the same area. University of California, Merced, campus talent search. WSU Cougars, that would be Washington State University. So with all of that in mind, now let's click on videos and see if there's anything going on in 2021. Now here I'd have to go Campus News 2021 in the video feed, and the reason being that the news feeds are usually quite relevant, are contemporary, something going on today. But some of the videos may not be. Now here's something right up the top. We've got news from the University of Arkansas Little Rock from February. We've got Henderson Television Campus News Now, Campus News Desk, Trinity School of Medicine, Campus News Desk, September 10, Campus News Desk. It looks like these are all coming from the same area. Let's take a look at the University of Wisconsin first. Now, these are all relevant campus television newscasts. This is from, well, UW, University of Washington. The purple should have given it away because the main color for Washington is purple. So let's check on the University of Washington news and see if this opens as a video. This would certainly work either as a hard or a feature story.
The UW facilities team is trying to do our part in the buildings to keep them clean and to do high touch point cleaning and disinfecting and to make sure that our ventilation systems in all buildings are maximizing clean airflow through the buildings and operating to peak performance. I'm really proud of the really hardworking, loyal team that is very proud of this university, this campus.
We're housing and food services. We offer on-campus housing and dining. Visitors will see some adjustments. Most of those are carryovers from last year. The other major change, of course, is that students will be vaccinated for COVID-19. We're allocating about 1% of our capacity for isolation and quarantine housing. We have a great program that we developed over the past year to provide support for students in isolation or quarantine housing, including food delivery, and we'll be continuing that program into next year.
We deep clean the restrooms, disinfecting hallways, door handles. We clean the restrooms in the morning and we go through them again before we go home. Cleaning the offices, we disinfected touch points, classrooms, lecture halls. We've gone through everything.
We're measuring airflow in buildings right now. The filters have all been changed, and it is looking good that we have sufficient airflow in all of our buildings. And we are installing air purifiers in all of the small and medium-sized classrooms across campus, and that will be in place prior to the start of the first day of classes. As a result of the pandemic and the health risks associated with that, people have anxiety. We are joined at the hip with environmental health and safety. They're advising us, and they're very happy with what we're doing.
I would like everybody to feel comfortable, safe when they return. Reach out and just let us know what's going on if you need them.
Now, the important thing to remember as we scroll back to the search is that university hard or feature news domestically or globally, oftentimes right around the beginning of the school year, is pretty much going to be the same. Now let's just continue to scroll through. You've got down here at the bottom, you've got a newscast from ECTV. Now let's check this out. Let's look for, a couple of minutes of news taking place here. And it looks like this is directly from a Facebook page. Sometimes there's a slight delay because I'm checking to see if you can see what I see. This is ECTV 40, and I'm guessing EC means something college. Let's see.
Hello and welcome to ECTV's news broadcast. I'm Jessie Pergolini.
And I'm Faith Morrow, and this is your campus news for the week.
On Wednesday night in the Cave, Cation Morrell hosted a cultural dance workshop to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. He danced alongside students to teach different Hispanic dances such as bachata and salsa. He taught them the basic movements of the dances as well as how to spin in correspondence with the dance and song. Around 8 students came out to the event and split.
So we see ECTV, but we don't know
into pairs of 2 to dance together.
What the institution
The Fresh Neck
is.
Cafe is opening up for the semester. This food and drink spot is located in Bowers, serving ramen, bubble tea, and smoothies. Head down between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, or between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. on Fridays to get your fix.
Saturday night, OSA hosted another Mario Kart tournament. Students gathered in the cave.
It's not bad. They're doing the leads to the stories, and then they're putting in what we would call B-roll. Looks like they are reading the intros off teleprompters, but that's not bad. Now let's just scroll back up and take a look at the most recent campus news from Trinity School of Medicine, directly from YouTube.
Hi, I'm Lisa Miller, and welcome to the Campus News Desk, where we provide you with updates, announcements, and valuable insights on what's happening at Trinity. This is our Campus Roundup. It was such a treat to be on campus earlier this month to welcome our new and continuing students. The excitement was absolutely invigorating as we transition from online to in-person learning, and we are thrilled to have our students back on campus. I decided to check in with one of our new students to see how it's going so far. First-term student Oscar Carjaval said that the week has been intensely filled with information, but he loves soaking up every ounce of it as he builds close relationships with his peers and faculty. That is what we love to hear. We know the road is long, but with that kind of passion and motivation, our students can accomplish and achieve anything. Next, we want to highlight a great accomplishment of Trinity student Matt Parvo. Matt recently wrote an article that is now featured in the open access medical journal ID Cases, a publication dedicated.
And you get the idea. It also shows you that mask policies really vary depending upon where you are. Let's scroll to another page and see if we can find more campus news. You've got, I'm just looking for anything that says 2021. On campus and more, Bronx Community College, Biola University, that would be Bible Institute of Los Angeles, COVID-19 information for the University of Maryland. Now that is updated yesterday, so let's check this out, because remember, hard or feature can be anything. And I'm guessing that there would be some type of video available on this link. Maybe not. You certainly got that impression just by looking whenever we go back to the video feed. You certainly got that impression, but it didn't happen. Let's go one more page. You've got campus and Knoxville news. Now, of course, Knoxville, that would be the University of Tennessee. We've got Boston College, University of South Florida, St. Petersburg. I have been on that campus. And the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg campus is beautiful in the respect that literally part of Tampa Bay is on the campus with boats and everything else. So I have to play this.
It was a little bit difficult to adjust to, and the coursework kind of changed as to like what was expected when we went online. So it was hard to adjust to like what they wanted from us as students. And it was hard not to have like that face-to-face to ask like questions. It was kind of intimidating.
How was that with labs?
With labs, it was okay. Some of them were online, so that was interesting because you were doing like simulations. But last semester I was able to go back in person, so I was able to get more of the hands-on experience, and it made it a lot better and easier to make connections to what we were actually like learning in lectures online.
That anxiety about having to socialize
right.
with people like
Yes, yeah, that's I think on campus it will be fine, like I said, because we've been on a small campus. Even just like going out now, I'm just like there's like a big crowd and I'm like, but I think on campus I'll be okay with it. I feel like we've had like our freshman year and now our senior year are going to be the only ones like in person. We've had like sophomore year cut off, junior year was all online. It's like we're starting and finishing college in person now. So it's cool, it's exciting.
And there you go, the University of South Florida, St. Petersburg campus. You cannot beat the view. I will say that. Now let's move back. Roadrunner, University of Texas, San Antonio. Boston College. And it's got COVID testing results here. And here is a welcome message. Now this is similar. If you want to talk about what it's like for students to return to campus as a feature, like what we saw with the St. Petersburg campus, same thing here. Here's a welcome message to students.
Hey Eagles, in just a couple days we'll be returning to campus for the start of another school year. We want to sincerely thank you for your commitment to university guidelines and procedures. Your extraordinary response in these most unprecedented times has allowed us to return to campus for a year full of engagement, community, and collaboration.
Boston College and its student body have set a precedent for the city of Boston. With your cooperation, the university became the first college to institute a vaccination requirement, securing our ability to come back to campus.
Because of your resolve for our university's safety, our school will be able to return to a greater sense of normalcy across every area of campus life. This is a privilege that we shouldn't take for granted.
As men and women for others, let's continue to stay vigilant and adhere to community standards to protect those around us. If you're feeling unwell, it's really important to call University Health Services right away. Even a sore throat or a cough could use a second opinion.
While BC will be continuing asymptomatic testing to monitor campus, don't hesitate to take advantage of University Health Services being open 24/7.
And you get the idea. And you have other campus reopenings, all different kinds of things. But we started off a few moments ago with the University of Tennessee. Let's check this out because this was in the last week. Is there anything here that involves video? But you can see, by the way, just from this website, different types of campus news. And here you have a festival.
Pero el idiota corazón es mucho más fuerte que yo y también me obliga a que te quiera. Estoy a punto de chiqui boom boom, chiqui chiqui boom boom, de chiqui boom boom, chiqui chiqui boom 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 boom. Como el agua que fluye en el mar y con libertad, así es la cantidad de amor que te voy a entregar. La brisa se encela al mirar en belleza, las flores.
So that was the Olaf Festival at the University of Tennessee. And here you've got all different kinds of news and activities. And this looks like it's from the college paper. And if you wanted to do something like that from a college paper, I like to look at news feeds. But if you want to examine something like this, that certainly would be appropriate. And it goes on and on, as you can imagine, for a campus with tens of thousands of individuals. But let's do something a little bit different. Let's take a search of international campus news. Because if you wanted to look at a global perspective at universities from around the world, that certainly would be okay. As always, I like to go to the news feed. So let's see whether or not there is anything that we could find. We're finding stories about international students at university campuses. But let's see if we can find anything from an international school. It's not unusual to see all kinds of news involving international students. Here you've got a new arts campus being opened in China. You've got a back to campus initiative for international students. Quote, anticipating the arrival of international students during September, Ireland's higher education institutions launched a Back to Campus initiative with a link, gathering together COVID-19 guidelines, to help manage their safe return. We did a lot of cultural engagement, which we do before students arrive. And it talks about, among other places, the University of Limerick, which is opening in a different window. So I will get that off of my screen. You can't see it. And the top of this website is called News and Business Analytics for Professionals in International Education. Look at the news feed. You've got international campus news from Ireland. And then as you scroll through, Sweden, Western Australia, Australia, Ireland, Canada, major universities mandate vaccines. So if I just wanted to look at any of these, such as in Canada, it leads to that story. Major universities in Canada are mandating vaccines. And I'm not doing a massive search here, but you can find international news for any of your projects if you look hard enough. And if we looked at videos, is there anything here that is internationally based? State University of New York, Korea. Follow the construction of an international campus. Let's see if that leads to a video. And this is obviously in French. And here you have an announcement of a launch of a major real estate project, the construction of an international campus in the north of France. And there's video. Now let's go back to the search. And if you wanted to change from, let's say, international campus news and just to international colleges, for instance, notice what happens. All of a sudden, within the visuals on top, you will find some international universities, and if you go into the news feed, you're still going to find international student information primarily from the United States, but you will find, as you did here, from the Times of India, admission open for 2021 with partial scholarship. A university in Bengaluru stands out as an institution that offers international exposure, where there is a chance to collaborate and learn with students from different countries, ethnicities, and multicultural backgrounds. So this is what an international college news story would look like if you're in India. And this is just, as you can obviously tell, a basic search. The videos are always going to be iffy because it's very challenging unless you put 2021 in the search to actually find a 2021 video that's related to it. But as you saw from a couple of your classmates' projects today, having video, especially with the Virginia Commonwealth student who unfortunately passed away from what apparently happened during a hazing exercise, is certainly helpful. And this is international students in the world, international students, the College for International Studies, and you get the idea. Let's check one of these out if it's appropriate. Go to a second page. And if I don't see anything, I'm not going to worry about it. Applying to Oxford, virtual colleges, you get the idea. So your responsibility, obviously, coming up on Thursday for assignment 7 is to find some type of campus hard or feature news story. But it's really important for you to examine what your cohorts have done in years gone by. Let's take a look at least one from the fall semester of 2020. And I will put this back up on the screen via Google Drive. From 2020. Now, many of you have had courses with these individuals, but let's go, for instance, to Abby Johnson. Many of you know Abby. I will put her website on the screen so you can see it. And as we scroll to assignment 7, Campus Harder Feature News, I think it is also appropriate for you to do a close examination of the actual writing of what people are doing. In this case, UNC students aim to create a space for Latinx students, journalists on campus, the Daily Tar Heel with a link to the story. And here you have the individuals who are featured, the UNC students. They are trying to create a more inclusive space in the School of Journalism and Media at North Carolina. And here is a social media post that's related to it. We're so excited to be a source of community and professional engagement for the Hispanic and Latinx community at UNC. Short, sweet, to the point, with an interactive link. A link to the story, a rewriting of the story itself, and a social media post. Edwards says that students do not have to be Latinx or in the journalism program in order to join. She says that all allies are welcome. So that would be a feature-related story from the University of North Carolina, rewritten from the Daily Tar Heel. And I believe this is going to open in the same window. And it is. Ideally, whenever you're putting these together, your links will open in the same window. So there's the story that Abby rewrote from last year. Always keep in mind, because so much of what we're doing here, guys, is editing, I need to know what the original source for your work was. And the original story was a lot longer, but that's okay. Just make sure that you are getting the essence of the story without copying it. And that's what Abby's website looks like when you click on it. The last thing I want to do today is to remind you of upcoming assignments. We'll return to Google Drive. And before we return to this part of the website, your work, as well as others, as I scroll through from years gone by, are helpful for design tips for the blogs, but also the clear way in which you write. Factually based, no opinions, let people decide from the writing that you've done. That brings us here. This week, Campus Crime and Campus Harder feature news. Next week, realistically, we'll do both public records, local and state, national, or international. Just about every class period this month, and we should have 8 of them Tuesdays and Thursdays during the 4 weeks of October when we're meeting in class. Most of the time, we're going to have something done. When we get into November, it's very possible that a couple of these opinion pieces might be done for the same class period, or what might be international harder feature news, trending on social media, entertainment, or pop culture. It's very possible that 2 of those, separately numbered, would still be due on the same day. And then as we get to the end of the semester, we've got the news app critique, the classmate blog critique, and then traversing into eventually research for the final project, which is visual journalism. As you know, whenever you go to the Blackboard gradebook on this particular website, there is nothing listed for grades because everything you do is still in flux in terms of a score, with your blogs being worth 2/3 of the course, the final project 50, and class participation 50, bringing you to a total of 300 for the fall semester. Please make sure that you get caught up ASAP. And as we continue on, one more bit of interactivity. Let me show you my Twitter feed. Most of the time, whenever I have it for the hashtag of 2003, I start at the top and move to the bottom. But in this case, I already have it for the first tweet that I sent out, and then just scroll up. As we continue on through the month of October, and as we get into November toward Thanksgiving break, more and more tweets under the specific rubric of research for a project like this one. Assignment 6 research, campus crime. Assignment 7 research for Campus Harder feature news, similar to what we saw today with the video from the University of Washington, is going to be included more and more, including links to websites from years gone by. Representative examples of what I think is appropriate for a particular project. So as we conclude the proceedings for today, go back, double check your blogs, double check the writing, the editing, the spelling, the grammar, the syntax. Timeliness is important. You want to make sure that as we get officially to the midterm, that you're all caught up and that these blogs are constantly being tweaked and edited. Because by the time you get to the end of the semester, with 200 points being required for that blog, you want to make certain that you are factually accurate, that you've got a clean, concise writing style, and other than the opinion pieces, that we do not hear your voice. Your voice will be there from the professionalism of the look and the writing of the blog. But other than that, it really is important that you are watching the videos and trying to make certain that your work is similar to your classmates in terms of structure, but unique in the way that the blogs are put together, because these are not only your own efforts, but something that should look and feel on both your phone and on your computer like a professional news blog. Always have that in the back of your mind. So follow me on Twitter for updates regarding Assignment 7 research, Campus Hard, or feature news. That story will be due at class time on Thursday. As for MM2003, reporting and writing for the mass media, that concludes the recording session for today.